This is the most fun you're going to have today. Thanks for staying at this late hour. We started early this morning. I am with a legend, and I actually asked Greg if he remembered meeting me, because he met me at a place called Temenos on Anguilla in a golf course he had designed for a fellow who's passed away, actually, and he was giving me golf tips, and I actually remember it today. I try to still use that golf tip. Sadly, my game has not quite reached Greg's level, but there's always hope for everyone. I have to tell you that when I've known Greg in his career, but I did not know the scope of his accomplishments. He had 91 professional tournament wins, 20 PGA Tour wins, and 71 international wins. He won the British Open twice. He was number one in the official world golf ranking for a total of 331 weeks. And only Tiger Woods has spent more time at number one. That was, I think, astonishing. That was quite a run.
It's a long
331 weeks. He earned 30 top 10 finishes and notably placed runner-up in 8 majors, including 3 Masters. He earned the nickname the Great White Shark. And this is like a multiple choice question. Why would you think he got that? He might have blonde hair. It was blonde, now it's just silvery gray. And for his aggressive playing style and, of course, his Australian roots. He shares the Masters record for the lowest round in history at the 63 in 1996. That's the golf career. There's Mr. Wynn. Hi, Mr. Wynn. Hi, Andrea. And Nelson Peltz. You got a nice audience. So, anyway, I think his golf career is somewhat well known, but he's an entrepreneur and a businessman, been very successful, philanthropist, and a leader, and he's taken on this new challenge as being CEO and commissioner of golf of the LIV Tour. So your interest in golf started at age 15?
15, 16, yeah, I was very late.
You're caddying for your mom?
I caddied for my mom. I was big into Australian sports, rugby, Aussie rules, cricket, all that stuff. And my father sold his engineering business and moved from one town called Townsville, which is up in the northeastern corner of Queensland. Moved down to Brisbane, and I left all my mates behind. So I was bored one day, and my mother was going out to play golf. And my mother's 5'4", 100-pound wringing wet, and she was a 3 handicapper at the time. So I said, I'll come out and caddy for you. And when she went in, I caddied for 18 holes for her. I thought, if she can play this game of golf, it's got to be easy. Right? And anyway, as it turns out, she got me influenced in it. My first handicap was 27. My first official score was 108. And within 5 years, I won my first professional golf tournament. So I accelerated very, very quickly.
You were scratching 18 months.
I scratched in 18 months. Something like you, Barry.
It didn't work for me. And you watched a Nicholas, because it was pre-internet, yeah. You were watching some Nicholas video?
No, I was reading his books. He has 2 books, Golf My Way and 55 Ways to Lower Your Score, Play the Game. And so instead of doing physics and chemistry, I was reading the books underneath my desk.
And they worked?
They worked, absolutely. So I modeled my golf swing after him, modeled a lot of my mannerisms and approach towards branding off it, and then eventually I signed a contract with Reebok to be endorsed by them, and Paul Fireman, the owner of Reebok at the time, he started the Greg Norman collection. I understood what branding and marketing was all about, and then I was a global player, and I got so fascinated with global golf diplomacy. I wanted to continue on that, and as I worked my way through my career, I understood what golf was doing in a diplomatic way, and in a hospitality way, and a growth way, and I've seen golf change countries so much. I see what's happening in the GCC now. I see what's happening in the Far East. It's just been an exciting 45 years of my involvement in the game.
Well, I think, it's been remarkable. It's really fun, I think, for any steward of a legendary sports athlete to see him continue. And in your case, you have 12 companies. I was looking at your website. Of course, we know the Shark Clothing. You do golf course design. In fact, you're doing a course right up the road with Steve Woodcoff, Shell Bay, and that's going to be too hard, so I won't show up and play there. You need to make easier courses. You have a estate. You have a wine estate. You have a beef company.
Mm-hmm.
At first I thought it was restaurants, but it's actually Wagyu beef, right?
Yeah, Wagyu beef. We're the largest.
Did you bring any for everyone here?
No, I wish I'd known. I could have done, but no, we're the largest importer of Wagyu beef out of Australia into the U.S.
It's crazy. And then you have a real estate development business. You build homes, I guess, around your courses, and and then you have your own design group, and then you have the Verizon. What do you call that thing? The golf cart business?
Yes.
Shark Experience?
Shark Experiences. Well, that's part of the innovation, and part of the innovation that got me involved identifying virgin space, where we'll eventually get to with what we're doing with LIV Golf, of identifying virgin space and going after it, and that's what we did with Shark Experience.
What do you think you learned from your golf that's translated and helped you succeed in business?
The institutions have no idea about how to grow the game of golf. And I mean that sincerely, because when you think about us as the player, and the player actually puts bums on seats and put the cameras on us, there's a very few number of players in the world that actually move the needle. And to be part of that shift in the cultural, corporate dollar value in the game of golf was really instrumental in me learning so much about the game. And I did learn playing the game of golf that, like the institutions, the PGA Tour and stuff, they were so stuck in a box. Yeah. They weren't innovative enough. They were still sticking to the same business model they've had for 53 years. And it was time to innovate. And when I was asked to become on board as the CEO and chairman of LIV Golf Investments, A, it was number one, it was an honor. Number two, I could realize the value and the passion that Yasser Al-Rumayyan had for the game of golf, but also they're the first PE, private equity, to identify unlocked value in the game of golf. And what is that unlocked value? It's the franchise model. So how do we have to create the franchise model? We had to get teams together. So how do you get the teams? You got to take the independent contractors, the players, some of the greatest players in the world today and in the past. You had to bring them on as principal players. So we have 12 principal players, 48 teams, 4 members per team. As this year we've gone live, we start building out the franchise value. And that value, just like all the other leagues around the world, rest in peace, Kerry Packer. Some of you might know him or may not know him, but he's the one who changed cricket. And look where IPL is today with cricket. And I know we're on the precipice of just creating this whole new world of wealth for private equity, for the players. It's generational wealth for them, because we've given them the opportunity to go down this new path with us. And we're here for a long period of time. So it's been very exciting for us. We're not even 12 months old, Barry. Yeah. And we've changed the game dramatically in 12 months. We have been a leader on many fronts. Matter of fact, on every front. You've seen the PGA Tour try to copy us or emulate us in the last couple of months. They've invested heavily back into that, which is fantastic. And it's the indicator that competition is the healthiest thing for all of us. And that's what we've done with LIV.
Do you think you'll be continuing to evolve your format?
100%. We've got so much runway ahead of us. What we're doing today with the boys, there's other opportunities. We know as we look at our platform and our business model, that can be replicated in other sports as well. So our first, proof point is proving out what we're doing.
Was part of your thought was to make golf more popular or wider, especially in the emerging markets?
Great question. One thing, going back to golf diplomacy, one thing I did realize through my golf course design business, that through these emerging markets, I'll give you a prime example about Vietnam. I went to Vietnam about 10 years ago, and when you went to Vietnam, it was backpackers tourism, right? It was 2-star. And I actually sat down with the Prime Minister of Vietnam, and I actually said to him, if you elevate the stature of your golf courses, you've got beautiful coastline, beautiful property, beautiful people, no crime, no unemployment, you'll be able to unlock value. So we built this golf course for him about 10 years ago, and it got voted #1 golf course in the world.
What's it called? I'll look it up. It's okay.
No,
We got Google. We're good. ChatGPT will tell us.
Yeah. So anyway, we proved to him in a very short period of time that we increased his tourism dollar from 1 to 6 by bringing in golf tourism. And that golf tourism was China, Japan, Korea, because China put a moratorium on golf course construction. So golf was that indicator. So we led the way in that department, and LIV is leading the way in our department in this way with the innovative approach we've done. We've invested a lot in innovation. We've changed it, and the format, what we have is, we're done in 4.5 hours. It's shotgun start. 48 players are on the golf course all at one time. So every golf shot is seen. And when you think about the regular PGA Tour event or any tour event that I've played in over my years, sometimes they take 6 hours, some take 5 hours. So for a mum and son or father and daughter or both or everybody, they have to follow one person, one group. With what we're doing with LIV, you're on the golf course, 4.5 hours, you're over and done. We've got music, got entertainment, so we've really lowered the demographics.
Not LIV and not golf. Like, which of your ventures does not work for you? Which do you just love doing? Like, what's your favorite thing you do? Like, I know that if I didn't, I'd love design, so if I didn't have my sidecar business of designing hotels, I probably would go crazy. Drives my partners crazy, but I love inventing brands and I love design. What is the secret power that you love to do? Like, what does not work in your portfolio, or just everything?
No, look, there obviously everything changes with what goes on with the GFC, for example. We knew golf course design was the economic indicator. We knew our accounts receivables were going out 90 days, 120 days. We knew something was happening, right? And then through the other side, we positioned ourselves where we didn't want to be on the bottom end of the pendulum. We wanted to be on the way up as the market changed. We started seeing where the money was moving around the world in the hospitality play, FDI, foreign direct investment, infrastructure financing, all this stuff that was taking place. Golf was always at the forefront.
Okay, so Greg Norman's life today, is it 50% business, 49% play, 1% I don't know what, investing? And I'm just curious, like, what's your life's about? I mean, you've had an amazing life. You've dated a few girls. Chrissy Everett was a dear friend of mine. Well, not a friend, an idol. So, you know, so I mean, what's your pie chart of life?
I work.
You work all the time?
I work 90 to 100 hours a week.
I'm glad to hear that. I was hoping you'd say that.
I love it. I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about LIV. I'm probably as passionate for LIV as I was for playing the game of golf.
Oh.
Because I can see everything we're doing within LIV is the right thing to do. And it's right for the game of golf. And that's where I want to keep everything, the game of golf and LIV. So,
okay. A couple of quick questions. We're running out of time. Just, you played with a different set of equipment than people play today. And how do you think you'd fare differently? And do you think because you built your own equipment, right?
Correct, yeah.
And do you think, how do you think of these greats of beyond? Today, people design their own golf ball, right? And how do you think about that? And in your golf course design, have you changed thinking of how you design a course because of today's equipment?
Absolutely. We've had to change the number of tees we have. Our landing areas changed. Back in the 80s, it used to be a 270-yard turn point. Now it's 300-yard turn point. I just was at Shell Bay yesterday. We had to move a bunker out for a 320-yard carry.
Not for me.
Guys. So that's, yes, we've had to evolve, and technology has been a big part of that.
I mean, it's funny because you think about the records of old and with the equipment they played with is incredible. I think they wanted me to take a question from the audience. So does anybody have any questions to ask Greg? This is a rare opportunity. No charge. Come on. Behind me. Go ahead.
Just a bit more on the economics of LIV, really, the competitive environment that you're facing from the PGA.
The question was the economics of LIV and the competitive environment he faces with the PGA.
Yeah, look, I think from the competitive headwinds that we've faced since day one.
I'm saying that there's been a lot of controversy about LIV. It's been a big investment. And where are you on the curve now as PGA fights back and improves its terms with its players, how will you react to that? And you've just gotten TV rights now, for example. I mean, what are the challenges that you face to bring this to fruition, really?
Well, the challenges have been there since day one. The challenges have been the headwinds that the PGA Tour instilled on us. Look, a monopolist doesn't like to be taken off its pedestal. That's the first time in the history of the PGA Tour. And you've got to remember how the PGA Tour started. The PGA Tour broke away from the PGA of America. There was Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Raymond Floyd, and a few others formed together to create the PGA Tour. The biggest mistake their agents and their managers at the time made was they didn't keep their IP. So the PGA Tour kept their IT. So the PGA Tour separated from the PGA of America. But at the same time, the PGA Tour has never been challenged in 53 years. So the monopolist is going to go out there and put threats out there. They threaten our players with lifetime bans. They threaten vendors. If you work for LIV, you'll never come work for the PGA Tour. They threaten sponsors. There's a new PGA Tour regulation that just come out in the last month and a half, about players cannot have a sponsor that is affiliated with any competitor and competitive team, i.e. LIV. So they're throwing out these massive headwinds for us against sponsorship, right? But the thing that we have proven to them, the headwind that's going on right now is obviously the legal battle that's taking place. And the battle in the legal front is on two fronts. There's LIV and there's the DOJ. And because of some of the rhetoric that the PGA Tour has talked to us about the players, restraint of trade, the DOJ came trying to understand the antitrust side of things. So the PGA Tour created this other legal front that they have to fight. And yet over here we have LIV. So they're the three real headwinds that we have, quite honestly. But the crown jewel for us is that the players love our format. Players from the PGA Tour are still reaching out to me and my team to wanting to come on board. We have a full house of 48 players. We're investing into the Asian Tour to give pathways for players to come join LIV. We're going to continue opening our pathways. So our format is 100% sustainable. Our partnership and our investor is 100% sustainable. We're not going to go anywhere. And I truly wish, sitting here in front of all of you, all I want is for the game of golf to benefit. If the game of golf benefits, the PGA Tour will benefit. Augusta National will benefit. The Open will benefit. The PGA of America, the US Open. Every part of the ecosystem will benefit from what we're doing, because we're all going to share in this growth, this opportunity, and it can only come through competition.
They want us to wrap up, but
okay.
at Augusta, which is next week, 13 LIV players will be playing. So,
yes, correct.
That will be exciting. And thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.